Hello viewers, welcome to Mythology. In this video we are going to discuss about the structure and the function of the human skin. Skin is the largest organ of our body, accounting approximately 15% of an adult body weight. It covers the external surface of the entire human body. The skin proper is made up of two distinct layers, the epidermis and the dermis. There is also a third hypodermal layer. Each layer varies significantly in their anatomy as well as their function. Epidermis is the outer, thinner part of the skin compared to the dermis. The epidermis exhibits three distinct sublayers depthwise at all places, but it may have two additional sublayers depending upon the body region. The first sublayer is the stratum corneum. This is the outermost exposed layer of skin with piled up dead, non-nucleated, flattened squamous cells. It contains a fibrous structural protein called keratin. The dead keratinocytes secrete defensins, which are part of our first line of defense. An additional layer of stratum lucidum is present in the skin of the palms of hands and the soles of the feet. These are 2 to 3 cell layers containing elidin, which is a transformation product of the keratohyalin. This conified layer is tough and it offers resistance to three things. The first being mechanical damage, secondly, any kind of bacterial or microbial infection, and finally, it also prevents loss of water by evaporation, thus maintaining the moisture of the skin. Next is the stratum granulosum layer. It contains 3 to 5 cell layers of diamond shaped cells with keratohyalin and lamellar granules. The keratohyalin layer contains keratin precursors that eventually aggregate, cross link, and form bundles, whereas the lamellar granules contain glycolipids which act as a glue, keeping the cell structures intact together. The deepest region of epidermis is called the germinative layer or the Malpighian layer. It is separated from the dermis by the basement membrane. Attachment between the two are provided by hemidesmosomes. The cells in the Malpighian layer are cuboidal to columnar, metabolically active, made up of stem cells that constantly produce the cells of the other layers too. The melanocyte cells are present in the Malpighian layer that impart coloration to the skin. Stratum spinosum is the next layer containing irregular polyhedral cells with cytoplasmic processes that extend upwards and contact neighboring cells by desmosomes. The dendritic cells are also found in this layer. Thickness of the skin varies depending upon the body region. Different kinds of cells that are found in the epidermis are the keratinocytes. These keratinocyte cell types found predominantly in the epidermis are actually the water barriers. They originate in the Malpighian layer itself. Next, it is the melanocytes, which produce melanin, called the skin pigment. They are derived from the neural crest cells that are present in the Malpighian layer or the stratum basale. It is protective against UV radiation. Thirdly, we have the Langerhans cells. These alpha cells, dendritic cells, are the skin's first line defense and play a significant role in the antigen presentation. Primarily found in the stratum spinosum. They need special stain to become visible. Next comes the Merkel's cells. These are the oval shaped modified epidermal cells found directly above the basement membrane of the Malpighian layer. They act as mechanoreceptors for light touch. They are most populous in the fingertips, though also found in the palms, soles, oral and genital mucosa as well. These membranes can interact with the free nerve endings in the skin. The next is a thicker layer called the layer of dermis. The dermis is connected to the epidermis at the level of the basement membrane and contains thick layer of elastic fibers of the connective tissue. These are the papillary and the reticulate layers that merge together without any clear demarcation. The upper papillary layer is made up of thin, loose connective tissue that comes in contact with the epidermis. The reticulate layer is the deeper, thicker, and the less cellular one containing collagen fibers. The dermis houses the sweat glands, the hair follicles, muscles, sensory neurons, and the blood vessels. Dermis is very thick on palms and soles, but it is very thin on the eyelids. Deeper to the dermis is the layer of hypodermis. This layer is also called the subcutaneous fascia. It is the deepest layer of the skin. It contains adipose lobules with some skin appendages like the hair follicles, the sensory neurons, and the blood vessels. Embryologically, the epidermis is derived from the ectodermal tissue, whereas the dermis and the hypodermis, they are of the mesodermal origin. The blood supply and the lymphatics is found between the papillary and the reticulate layers of the dermis, and secondly, between the dermis and the hypodermis. Supply to the epidermis is by superficial arteriovenous plexus, also called the papillary plexus. Next, is the muscle connection to the skin. The arrector pili muscles are the bundles of smooth muscle fibers that attach to the connective tissue sheath of the hair follicles. When muscles contract, they pull the hair follicle outwards, producing goosebumps. Next, let's try to understand how are the cells in the different layers of the skin get produced. So cell division occurs at the stratum germinativum or the basal layer of epidermis. After cell division, one cell remains back and the other is pushed towards the surface. The basal cell start synthesis of tonofilaments containing keratin. The cells are pushed into the spinosum layer where they produce keratohyaline granules having intermediate associated proteins like filaggrin, trichohyalin, and thus get keratinized. Cells also produce lamellar bodies. Then the cells are pushed to the granulosum layer and they become flattened. They accumulate the keratohyalin granules mixed between the tonofilaments. Then they continue to the stratum corneum. Here they lose the cell organelles and the nuclei, thus turning into a homogeneous keratin matrix. Finally, the cells reach the surface of the corneal layer and are desquamated via a breakdown of the desmosomes. Let us now review the functions of the skin. The skin has often been referred to as the jack of all trade, but truly, the skin provides a plethora of functions. It provides a protective barrier against mechanical, thermal, and physical injury as well as from the hazardous substances. This also prevents the loss of moisture and reduces the harmful effects of the ultraviolet radiation. The skin can act as a sensory organ of touch, temperature, pain, and pressure. It can also help to regulate the body temperature in coordination with the hypothalamus of the brain. It acts as an immune organ to detect infections as well. The production of vitamin D is only possible in the layers of the skin with the help of the ultraviolet light. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked my video. So please do like, share and subscribe to my channel if you still haven't done so. Thank you once again.